Hello everyone, thanks for coming by my channel. I do appreciate it, and welcome to anyone who's new coming by here. I have got all my Christmas scrap out because I've been still working on the star quilt, but I've been making crumb blocks. I will link how to do the crumb blocks, my way at least, because I have a popular video about it. I'll put that in the description box. And what I'm going to do, hopefully, is make drawstring bags from them. And I found a good one from Kristen of Scrap Fabric Love. And I'm going to link her video too, because she actually has two versions of it, and you might like one of hers better. So we'll carry on and make one up and see how it goes. This drawstring bag, like lots of bags actually, requires two pieces for the liner, and I am going to use this dark print because I had a big enough piece, and there's very little of it in my crumb blocks, so that's okay. And I've got them at 13 inches wide by 19 inches tall. That'll make a nice big bag for any larger gifts I may have. We shall see. And I will make the outer crumb blocks exactly the same size. So I'm going to keep on going on them and make them big enough. As I'm getting these crumb blocks big enough, I'm thinking ahead for assembling the bag. And I want to do a little bit of a box on the bottom. So I put a larger piece on the bottom just to make sure I don't have lots of seams and stuff in the way. It's just easier with one piece. And after I'm finished with assembling a bag and have it all turned around the right way, I go around the top edge with the top stitch to keep it tidy. So I will also put one piece of fabric on the top just to make sure that there's no seams across the top when I'm doing the assembly of the bag and getting it all done. Okay, so I changed my idea. I had to get this bag side all squared up and straight. So I trimmed it, and I'm going to go with this as the top one seam. It doesn't really matter. I was more concerned about here for boxing the bottom. So this is 12 3/4 wide and 18 5/8 inches tall. And I'll just make those inner liners the same size. It doesn't really matter as long as they're all the same. Now we have to make a casing for the drawstring to go through. And I actually did this wrong. I had to go back and look at Kristen's video. I pressed it, but what you're supposed to do is get your piece 2.5 inches, thereabouts. It can be slightly less if you want, but by the time you fold it, you still have to get the drawstring through. So 2.5 is pretty good. So make it exactly the width of your bag. I had a strip a little bit bigger. I just put the strip on here and made a mark and cut it off. And then now what you're supposed to do is get yourself a tidy end. Fold it in twice, maybe about 1/8 each time. Thereabouts, not quite 1/4 inch, and then fold it over again. So you have about like that, and then sew it down on each end. That way you have a tidy end. Make sense? After you have your tidy ends done, sew a seam along the open edge so you have a tube. And then you just have to twist it around to put the seam on the bottom. And it sort of presses to one side as you go. So just jiggle it around so that your seam's on the bottom. You're going to have to press the heck out of it so it stays nice and flat. And that way you can top stitch with the pretty side up. I put a mark about 3 inches down from the top of the bag. I think that looks pretty good. And because you have a tidy end, it's well within the seam allowance for sewing the sides together. Makes sense, right? I'm actually going to cut this little end off. It looks a bit raggedy, but it'll look fine. I'm going to top stitch along both sides just to make sure it's held down good. I've got the casings for the ribbon top stitched with green thread. It matches pretty close. Now I just have to sew the two tops of the bag together. I drew lines here on the corner to cut for boxing the bottom. I put my 1 1/4 marker from my ruler on the seam line this way and my 1 1/4 mark this way. And when you do a box like this, the box always comes up double of what your measurement is. So I should have about a 2.5 inch box on the bottom of the bag. And I will do exactly the same thing for the lining. Take your scissors and cut out on the lines you just drew. Like so. Ooh, that one was a little bit messy. Let's just fix that up. There we go. And then you just open up your bag the other way. Line the seams up. Make it flat and straight. And sew across there with a 1/4 inch seam. And then you have your box. Alright, bag's all done. This casing was starting off 2.5 inches, comes out to about 1 inch. And I have 1/4 inch ribbon in here. You probably could go up to 5/8 maybe even, it would probably be fine. I put one end on a safety pin and then just kind of sugarled it through. So I have one tie tied on one side and one ribbon tie on the other side so that you can do like, this kind of thing, right? Scooch it in together. And then once you have whatever you present in it and these tightened as needed, then you can just tie these two together in a bow or something like that, and that's how it'll work. That should be fine. I'll try it out at Christmas, see how it goes.